Welcome to the session on decimals and percentages, division of decimal numbers. The objectives for this session are learning how to divide decimals by multiples of 10, divide decimals by whole numbers, and divide decimal numbers by each other. We're going to begin by dividing a decimal number by 10, 100, and 1000. When we divide a decimal number by 10, we form a new number by moving the decimal point one place to the left. Let's demonstrate how to do this by using an example. Let's divide 3,182.33 firstly by 10, then 100, and then 1000. So, dividing 3,182.33 by 10 gives us 318.233. We've shifted the decimal place one place to the left. When we divide by 100, we shift the decimal point two places to the left. And when we divide by 1000, we shift the decimal point three places to the left. We will now see how to divide a decimal number by a two-digit number. Let's look at an example. Divide 278.75 by 25. Set up the division as shown and begin on the leftmost end of the five-digit number. Check how many times 25 goes into 2. Clearly, there are no 25s in 2, so we put nothing here. Now check how many times 25 goes into 27. There is one 25 in 27, so we put a 1 here, as shown. Now multiply 25 by 1 to give 25, and put 25 here. Now subtract 25 from 27 to give 2. Bring the 8 down and position it here, as shown. How many 25s are in 28? There is one 25 in 28. Position the 1 here. Now multiply 25 by 1 to give 25 and put 25 here. Now subtract to give 3. Bring the 7 down and position it here, as shown. How many 25s are in 37? There is one 25 in 37. Now line up the decimal point as shown. And position the 1 here. Multiply 25 by 1 to give 25 and position it here. Subtract to give 12. Bring the 5 down and position it here, as shown. And now, how many 25s are there in 125? There are 5 25s in 125, so we position the 5 here. Multiply 5 by 25 to give 125 and position it here. And then subtract as shown, to give 0. We stop dividing when we get a 0 remainder, and therefore 278.75 divided by 25 equals 11.15. We now divide a decimal number by another two-digit number. Let's look at another example. Divide 620.96 by 16. Set up the division as shown and begin on the leftmost end of the decimal number. Check how many times 16 goes into 6. Clearly, there are no 16s in 6, so we put nothing here. Now check how many times 16 goes into 62. There are 3 16s in 62, so we put 3 here. 3 times 16 is 48, so we put 48 here. Subtract 48 from 62 to give 14, and bring the 0 down and position it here, as shown. How many 16s are in 140? There are 8 16s in 140, so position the 8 here. 8 times 16 is 128. Position the 128 here, as shown, and subtract 128 from 140 to give 12. Bring the 9 down and position it here, as shown. Line up the decimal points. How many 16s are in 129? There are 8 16s in 129, so we position the 8 as shown. Now multiply 16 by 8 to give 128, and put 128 here. Now subtract 128 from 129 to give 1. Bring the 6 down and position it here, as shown. And finally, how many 16s are in 16? Clearly, there is only 1. So we position the 1 here. 1 times 16 is 16. So position the 16 here, and then subtract, as shown, to give 0, and that's positioned as shown. We now stop dividing when we get a 0 remainder. So 620.96 divided by 16 equals 38.81. Now let's consider dividing one decimal by another. Let's try the example shown on the screen. We can convert the decimals to fractions. Turn the second fraction upside down and change the division sign to a multiplication sign. Cancel the tens to give 4 divided by 2. Which is equal to 2. Let's try another example, which is shown on your screen. Convert the decimals to fractions. Turn the second fraction upside down. And change the division sign to a multiplication sign. Cancel the 1000 with the 100 appropriately. And cancel the 25 with the 5 as shown, to give 10 divided by 5, which is of course equal to 2. Now let's try another example. Convert the decimals to fractions. Turn the second fraction upside down and change the division sign to a multiplication sign. Cancel the 1000 with the 10 appropriately and cancel the 35 with the 1575 as shown, to give 45 divided by 100, which is equal to 0.45. This brings us to the end of this session. If you have understood its contents, you should be able to divide decimals by multiples of 10, divide decimals by whole numbers, and divide decimals by each other. Thank you very much for listening. Now pause the slideshow and have a go at these exercises. The solutions will be released one at a time, so you can check your answers as you go along. Pause the slideshow whenever you need to. Now have a go at this exercise. This allows you to practice dividing a decimal by a whole number. Pause the slideshow whenever you need to. Solutions will be released one at a time. Now have a go at this exercise. It allows you to practice dividing a decimal number by a decimal number. Pause the slideshow whenever you need to. Solutions will be released one at a time.